knows, but show me an Islamic evidence that tells you that as a man, there's no role for you to play in the upbringing of the child. It's only to do with the mother. Where is that? Show me the hadith. Show me the verse of the Quran. It's not there. Because parents, it's your responsibility in a joint fashion. And one of the reasons that we are struggling, not only the divorce and the broken homes of people who want to have kids so quickly without realizing that it's my responsibility to this innocent child to make sure that if I wasn't 100% certain in my own way with my spouse, I shouldn't have brought that child. Number one. Number two is, if you have the children, learn to soften up towards your spouse. Because you know what? It's not about you. Don't be selfish. We have people who say, I want to divorce her, or I need a divorce. My husband is a bad man. How many kids do you have? 7. I'm fed up. 7 kids. 7 kids. And now you realize he's a bad man. Subhanallah. Why don't you think for a moment? And I'm not talking only about the women, but it happens with the men as well. She's born 7 kids for you. And you say, I want to divorce her. Why? She's a 1960 model, you know. Now there's the millennials, you know, it's totally different, you know. That ride in the Lexus is far smoother, you know. A'udhu billah. What are you talking about? Do you have a brain? Do you realize it's not about you, your pleasure, your enjoyment, and only yourself? Now it's about children who are there, who you brought onto earth with the decree of Allah, and it's your duty to make sure you have sacrificed a little bit more to ensure they have a reasonable, decent life. Have you ever watched people run the race? The 100-meter relay, the 400-meter relay they call it, 100 meters each, and you pass the baton, and you pass the baton. I promise you, my brothers, my sisters, in life, we are called Khalifa. The term Khalifa means those who come one after the other. I'm supposed to have gotten a baton from my parents, and I'm supposed to hand it over to my children, and they're supposed to give it to their children. That baton has the torch of the deen, subhanallah. I'm supposed to hand it, and this is when I fulfill part of my duty unto Allah regarding why I'm on earth, subhanallah. So if I just say, I don't want this marriage anymore, what did I do to the baton? You're running the relay, halfway you look at, what was his name? Usain Bolt. You look at him and you say, it's okay. I'll leave the baton, I'm going away. Why? Are we going to lose anyway? He might run in a way that it will win. You may have children through whom Allah will grant you Jannah because of their dua, because of their goodness, because of the fact that you sacrificed, you wanted to see them succeed even though you didn't achieve what they had. And you couldn't have achieved it for whatever reason, maybe. But because you looked at the broader picture and you were not selfish, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely let you taste the fruits of your sacrifice. If not in the dunya, then in the akhirah. And if you're fortunate, then in both. So if you are going to have children, remember, you need to sacrifice as parents. I was speaking about the point that the fathers also need to contribute in the marriage. The last time I was in Nigeria, in fact not just the last time, but some time back, I asked a few brothers, have you ever changed the nappy of your kid? Talking of marriage. Nappy? What nappy? Nappy? I'm not saying it's your job. But I challenge you, have you ever done it? If you haven't, your fatherhood skills are not complete. We're only talking of skills. I'm not saying it's your job. My sisters, I'm not encouraging you to say, did you hear the talk today? There's the nappy. This is something called wet wipes. This is something else. Go for it. And when he's done, you inspect it and say, 4 out of 10. Try again tomorrow morning. And then midnight you get him up. Forget about tomorrow morning. It's happened. Do it again. I'm not encouraging you to do that. No. Let's not abuse religion. Let's not abuse things. But what I am saying, let's be conscious of one another. Let's love one another. Let's show that mawadda and rahmah. You know what that means? When you're married, Allah says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Allah has placed between you mawadda and rahmah. The love and the mercy. Mawadda is one of the highest levels of love. Allah didn't say hub. Allah says mawadda. Mawadda is a closeness and intimacy. That love that is filled with the highest level of affection, the care. And rahmah means mercy. That's the wife. That's the mother of my children. Subhanallah, there is a rahmah. I feel the mercy. Part of the rahmah, isn't it, that when you see her struggling, you can say, don't worry, tonight I'm on guard. That's what I'm saying. It's rahmah. So some people say, how come I'm married? Allah promises us mawadda and rahmah. I feel neither mawadda nor rahmah. Can I tell you one of the diagnoses? Because perhaps we're involved in sin. That's why. One of the reasons. Perhaps we have unplugged from Allah. Sins generally are of two types. One is you're not doing what is compulsory, and two is you're doing what is prohibited. Two things. So my brothers, my sisters, we don't feel the love because we're involved with another woman. That's why. So now you come home, you don't see the mother of your children as the mother of your children anymore. You see her as, this lady is 5 kilos more than the other one. Wow, 5 kilos. She gave birth to one child. You are fortunate, subhanallah. I remember a man with a belly, big belly. You know the men after the age of a certain age, maybe 35, 40, sometimes more, sometimes less, they develop a belly, subhanallah. It's a mercy of Allah. So that the woman can say, so the wife tells her husband, you know what? You need to lose a bit of weight. Look at your belly. So he says, look at yours. She says, I'm pregnant. I'm about to give birth. I'm about to be a mother. He says, well, I'm about to be a father. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. We sometimes don't realize that as much as, I'm talking about men, as much as we love our wives to be the most good looking, you need to understand those looks go beyond that which is just physical and outward into the heart. Earlier I heard Sheikh Abdul Fattah say that after 10 years of marriage, then you actually now feel you're married. Did you hear him say that? Yes. Why? He worded it differently from what I would word it, but in essence, there comes a stage in your marriage when you begin to appreciate the sacrifice of your spouse if you are fearful of Allah, if you have taqwa and iman in you, if you have a heart, you begin to appreciate what your spouse has sacrificed for you and for this marriage, and you get onto a new level of love. At that point, what you look like doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's your sacrifice. I love you. What have you done? You gave up your home. You gave up everything. You gave up your family. You gave up your area. You gave up sometimes your country. You traveled to a different continent. Can't I appreciate you as a spouse? Subhanallah. May Allah bless us. May Allah grant us goodness. My brothers and sisters, these children of ours are an amana from Allah. Just like your life is in the hands of Allah. Just like you wouldn't want your parents to think that they have the right to instruct you to do that which is against the command of Allah. You as a parent should understand the same about your child. The child is an amana. Do you know what the term amana means? Amana means it does not belong to you. Allah allows you to say, my son, my daughter, just for a short space of time. Could you have said that before the child was born? You couldn't, because you didn't have the child. Where was the child? With Allah somehow, somewhere. Alam al-arwah, where the arwah were. But you couldn't say, my son, my daughter. Why? They weren't yours at that stage. They were still with Allah. The minute they were born, or perhaps conceived, you say, my child. Once they are out in life, you say, my son, my daughter. Whose is that? Not yours. You are allowed to use the word my. At this juncture, yet it does not refer to ownership. Have you thought of that? I remember speaking to a group of people, and one of the speakers with us raised an issue. After that, a question was asked. And the sister who asked the question got up and said, you know, my husband. So the guy gets up, the speaker says, hang on. You have 25% shares in this man. The other 75 you are granted as a gift to enjoy whilst it's not yet there. And I was like, gosh, did you have to say that right now? But I learned a lesson. He was trying to say, when you say my, it's not ownership. It's just a gift of Allah. For a while you can say it. But at some stage Allah may take that away from you. Allah may take your husband away from you. Allah may take your child away from you. Who gave Allah the right to take my son away at the age of 5? How can I even ask that question? It was Allah who gave me in the first place. And I want to tell you, those of you who have lost children, may Allah give you Jannah. Those children will be waiting for you, bi'idhnillah, to fight your case on the day of judgment. May Allah make it easy for us to earn Jannah al-Firdaus. I promise you, my beloved brothers and sisters, if you think you have a problem, just go back to the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and read his life, and you will find that he didn't lose one child, he didn't lose 2 children, he lost all his children in his lifetime besides one. Who was that one? Fatima radiallahu anha. She passed away just a few months after him. Have you lost children? If the answer is yes, the best of creation has lost all his children in his lifetime. It's not a sign of the displeasure of Allah. It's not a sign that Allah didn't choose you for something good. No. It could be a sign of the love of Allah. I remember a brother who had several children, and he lost a few of them in a car crash, and he was so upset. And 10 years later he told me, the amount of trouble that the rest of my kids have given me, I sometimes through my weakness wish that Allah had taken them all away. If I had told him that years before, he would have probably thought I was some Satan. But he's saying it himself, that I see the wisdom of Allah. Maybe Allah took these kids away because Allah did not want me to struggle with their upbringing. Perhaps. So you don't know what Allah has in store, what Allah has planned. You fulfill whatever you have to. But thank Allah, the child belongs to Allah. That's the meaning of amana. Allah will take the child away at any stage. Now I want to give you another example. May Allah take us all for Hajj. Say Ameen. Ameen. And Umrah. Say Ameen. Ameen. Again and again. Say Ameen. Ameen. I'm sure one of those Ameens is accepted. Okay. If your neighbor was going for Hajj, and they were leaving the house, and they told you, listen, here are the keys. Please, can you take care of the house? We're going for 3 weeks. We're going to come back. Do you have the right, once they're gone, to open the house, take the car, start driving, going out, change the paint of the car, come back, change the painting of the house, break a wall, make something else in the kitchen, take something away, put it back. When they come back, they'll say, what happened to this house? Right? We would never do that if we were honest people. We are doing it with our children. Allah gives us and says, look, I'm going to give you. You made dua for a good spouse, we gave you. You made dua for children, I'm giving you for a while. I'm going to take this child away. And between now and then, I want you to make sure that you only do what I have told you to do, because it's mine, not yours. So from a young age, do not let that child sit with cartoons, with phones. Wallahi, I've had a question that was asked to me not long ago, saying, you know what, how can I seek the forgiveness of Allah? Because my 3-year-old was watching pornography on my phone. Why? How? I couldn't believe it, but now your 3-year-old knows more about your phone than mine, or than anyone else's, than anything else. Let me word it again. Your 3-year-old knows more about your phone than you. They will pick it up. I recall I put a little finger. You know, there is this system of opening your phone with your eye and your finger. At one stage it was the thumb. Now it's the eye. And the child says, no, come here. Don't just give me the phone. In your finger, put it here. It's your finger that's going to work here. The children know the pattern on your phone, how to open, what not. Number one is, for a child to access porn at that age, it means it was somewhere in the phone. Something was happening. You don't just click on a website, you don't know, but you have pressed either the history or a clip that's happening. Number one, promise Allah that you are going to delete all the clips from your phone that are immoral. Do we promise? What happened? Why are we reluctant? Do we promise Allah that we will delete all the clips from our phones that are immoral? It's still not good enough. So many of you are just silent, looking at me like, there's nothing immoral on my phone. Come on, get away. Don't lie. Don't lie. Do you promise Allah? We want children who are going to grow up with high values, and we are not prepared to promise Allah that we will have high values. Come on. Do you promise Allah you will delete every clip that is in your phone that is immoral? A little bit better. MashaAllah. May Allah make it easy for us. Be strong. Be hard on yourself, so that you don't need to be hard on your children. Many of us are so hard on our children. Wallahi, I receive emails telling me that, you know what, I caught my father doing this, doing that, watching porn with a girlfriend, with this, that. I've read some of it. What do? I'm broken. I don't know whether to bash his face or what to do. Allahu Akbar. Your father, Allah has blessed you, my beloved parents, with an automatic respect from those children. It's we who spoil it. Automatic. Like what I said, when you get married, if your heart is pure and your connection with Allah is good, wallahi, you have to feel the mawadda and rahmah, because Allah promised that in the Quran. But if you don't feel the mawadda and the rahmah, the love and the mercy, there's something wrong with your connection with Allah. The same applies. Your children, Allah made them mimic you automatically. You wear hijab, 2-year-old, 1-year-old wants to wear the hijab. You read salah, my beloved brother, 1-year-old, your son will fight to come to sujood next to you while you are reading salah. It's automatic. Who told the child? Nobody. That's why if you look at the hadith of salah, the Prophet ﷺ says, Muru awladakum bis salah wa hum abna sab'i sinin. Instruct your children to read salah when they are 7 years old. Wow. When I looked at the hadith, one of my teachers told us that means don't instruct them before that. And I was like, what? How can I not instruct my child when he's 4 or 5? I said, come, let's read salah. You know what? I was taught that the child should do it just by you leading by example. Before the age of 7. Before the age of 7, the child shouldn't be instructed, but rather should want to do it without instruction. Because they've watched you. Sisters, mashallah, we are dressed so beautifully in lovely hijab. I always give an example to others in the Western world and even in Muslim countries. I tell them, when I go to Nigeria, come with me, see the hijab there. Subhanallah. May Allah bless you. Don't give up your Islamic identity. We give examples of you by the will of Allah. I love to speak highly of these countries in West Africa because I've seen with my eyes what I've never witnessed even in Muslim countries. Thank Allah. Alhamdulillah. Don't give up your Islamic identity. We have it, and we are doing it willingly, under tremendous pressure to give it up, but no one is forcing us to remove it. Thank Allah. There are places where they want it, but they are being forced otherwise. So I tell you, my beloved brothers, my sisters, when this child is before the age of 7, ideally taking from the hadith of Salah, you are supposed to encourage the child not by way of instruction, but by other means. Primarily, them learning by example. Who led them by that example? You. You were leading by example. Time for Salah, you speak of Salah. You have the adhan. You have, for example, Iqama. You have a special place in your house where Salah is fulfilled. You have the burqa and various other clothings that are worn, or perhaps Quran, something else that you sit and read. The children will follow automatically. I was saying, sisters with hijab, mashallah, those of you who have children, am I not right when I say that your 2-year-old will want to dress like you? Subhanallah. Who told the child? Even you didn't. Those in niqab, for example, there are some in niqab, they always say, our children, they just want to dress like this. They say, no, I want to be like this. I want to do like that. I'm talking about myself. SubhanAllah, my little boys, when they were little, they wanted to dress exactly like this. And one day I delivered a lecture in Cape Town. And my son gets up after that, when everyone was going, he says, hey, now it's my turn, sit down. And he wanted to talk. Why? It made me cry. That is Allah. It's a gift from Allah. Allah is just trying to tell you, look, we will do our part, but you better do your part. Now that you see this is happening, just take it and help it grow. Subhanallah. You help it grow. The problem with us, we don't help it grow. What do? We extinguish it because we come home and then they see us swearing. When you swear, they will swear. Something interesting, I once attended a course on marriage and I was asked to speak. And you know what? In the interaction, I learned something amazing. I want to share it with you. They say when you're looking for a spouse, enter the home and talk to the parents and see what's happening and look at how the parents are getting along, because if those parents swear each other, the child will know better. Obviously there are exceptions, always. But you know, if this child grew up with F's and B's, don't expect F and B to stand for Facebook. No. Those are bad words. Have you not noticed our young boys and girls today? I was in the lobby of this beautiful hotel and I heard some people, I'd like to guess that they were perhaps non-Muslim, because if they were Muslim, let me say, at least if they saw us, they would have felt, hey, I better not say this. They were using the worst, most vulgar words just to greet each other, just to talk to each other. Just to greet each other. You must be wondering, but how? I'm not going to repeat it here. For what? Why has it become norm? You want to greet someone, you've got to swear with the M word and say, yo, what's up? Come on, how? You cannot do that. How can you call someone with such a dirty name? That's immoral. So what I'm saying is, for our children, they watch. And they're watching such that Allah has made it that they will look up to you and follow. That's a gift of Allah. So use it, don't abuse it. Make sure you use it. You come home, you look at your wife. You kiss her in the presence of your kids. Can it happen? Nigerian men will say, what? What did you just say? My kids watching. I'm not talking of a long romantic kiss that should happen perhaps behind closed doors. I'm talking of a peck perhaps, a word of love perhaps, a hug perhaps, so that they know how to treat their spouses the day they have spouses. That's what it is. I'd love my kids to know. Sometimes they look and they actually look away and they're like shy, but I wanted you to see it, that's why I did it. You need to know what goes on here, because if not, you're not going to know. When you have matters and issues that need discussion because there's disagreement, do it behind closed doors. That's a gift you can bless your children with. Behind closed doors, do not let your children into your problems. They are not counselors. They are not people. They actually need the good side, not the bad side. They are young, let them grow. They don't need to hear everything. Sometimes we want kids to take sides, especially when divorce happens. And we have to talk about this because divorce is huge in terms of ratio. I'd like to think we've crossed the 50% mark. Generally, more than 50% of those who get married divorce. So we have to talk about it. When you divorce, there is a whole new door of ibadah that opens that was not open before, and that is the rights of the divorced parent and the children and the families. The door wasn't there before. You know, they say nikah opens a door of ibadah. Well, talaq opens another door of ibadah. What is it? To allow a man I did not like or get along with or detest access and custody to his own kids for the sake of Allah. That's an ibadah. Many people block the other parent from access or custody. They say, no way, I'm not going to give access. Why? He's a bad man. I don't want, they're playing with me. No. You can't. Allah decided, His decision is final. Allah decided and His decision is final. That you know what? That is the father. Come what may, that's the father. And you don't ever spoil the upbringing of the child by brainwashing the child against the other parent. And you don't ever think that another parent or the other parent is brainwashing the child just because the child doesn't want to relate to you.